everybody. Thanks for tuning in. I'm glad you could be here today. Alongside, I've got Jan with me.
Hey, Steve. Hey, everybody.
From you got some good stuff you might want to share with us
You
today.
know, I don't know what goes through my mind half the time, Steve. I don't know. Maybe making all these videos all month long. Then, like, I need like a break. So I was just like all videoed out, if you will. And I was just getting like a retro moment in my mind. And I was thinking about gum, of all things. What? Yes. Yes. Bubble gum, chewing gum. I have so many fond memories of gum. It is absolutely ridiculous. Can I share one of them from like back in the really old days?
Yeah. Okay.
Did you have gumball machines in your area, in your neighborhood? You know, those
Oh yeah.
colorful.
Yeah. Mhm.
I used to love to buy gumball banks when I was a child.
I had one.
Yes, that's a really nice gift. Anybody watching? And they're just to look at. They're so cute. They're reminiscent. That was one fond thing for me. But I also remember on the New York City subway stations, anybody that's a former New Yorker or used to travel here back in the old days, you might remember this, doesn't exist anymore. Forget it, not happening. Every single station on every platform throughout the city, Steve, used to have a chiclet machine or little baby dentine, these little baby itty bitty
Mhm.
boxes. Now I'm really showing my dinosaur age here. In my parents' age, they used to say, "Oh, I used to get it for 2 cents in the machine." When I was a kid, it was a nickel or 10 cents or maximum a quarter later on in life. All this inside the subway, on the platforms, little boxes of chiclets. Do you remember chiclet gum, Steve?
Oh yeah. I remember the little itty bitty boxes, but not from a gumball or a gum vending machine. I didn't
Yeah.
remember from. I remember years ago in the store they used to sell a bag of chiclets like they do the Milky Way and the Snicker and the Baby Ruth and all that. They come in the little snack size. Well, I
Yes.
remember in this bag in the chiclets, you would open it up, you'd have smaller boxes of chiclets in it.
Right.
So I don't think you had two in there. I think it was about three or four, but I can relate to what you're talking about. I know exactly what you're referring to, but I do remember chiclets. There's so many different gums out there. Here's a good one. This is probably 70s. I definitely know it about 1980, 81 for sure. Freshen Up.
I miss Freshen Up, unless it still exists and I don't know it.
No, it doesn't.
Oh,
When I was a kid, I used to love the peppermint, and I think there was a spearmint and a bubblegum flavor. Well,
yeah.
anyway, I used to like the liquid center. I don't know what it was about
It
that.
was delicious. That's
Yeah,
what.
right. But Freshen Up is one that I remember. Oh gosh.
Oh, wow.
Um, I
You
know
reminded me. Go ahead.
you had mentioned one, but I don't know if I remember it or not. The ice cream gum.
Ice cream gum. I don't know about your location, whoever's watching this video, but back in New York in the 1970s, when I was like an early adolescent and then a teenager, but later on, when I was about 15 or 16, oh my gosh, they sold ice cream gum. You could look it up. You could look at the picture. I used to love it. The strawberry one and the chocolate one. It was really quite good. It tasted like ice cream. It really did.
Oh, okay. I
Guess what,
almost
Steve? Chiclets were in a little bag too. They sold miniature chiclets, like chiclet baby chiclets, in a bag. They were like tiny, like the
that's
size of pastina.
yes, yes. That's what I was right. That's what I was trying to mention earlier. That's it. That's the one.
Oh wow!
Um, yeah, the ice cream gum. I don't know. I want to say I do remember it. Well, remember because the time that you're referring to was probably about the year I was born,
Right.
but I do. If I had ice cream gum, it would have had to have been when I was like maybe three or four. But you
Wow.
said it only lasted a couple of years, so you know what? That might be more. That right there might be more my sister's era than it would be
Right.
mine. She could probably relate to it better.
Do you
Uh,
remember snapping your gum? Like, do you remember how to like if you blew a bubble on it, then you bit down and snapped on it? Did you ever do that?
I've done that. One thing I used to like to do, it's probably not very sanitary to do, but I used to take the gum out of my mouth,
Yeah.
and I used to take it and pull it apart and
Yes.
put it up and go and make it do a popping sound.
Yes. Guilty
Um,
as charged.
Now, yeah, that but it's been a year and a day, I guess I was trying to say, since I've done that. You're talking about I was maybe not even 10 years old when I was doing that. 9, 8, I can't remember, but yeah, I used to take the gum and pull it apart and make these popping. Um,
We don't realize how much gum was like part of our pop culture and like all the variations of it and so many that existed and didn't exist. And what was the one? Bazooka. I understand Bazooka Joe is not only existing but thriving, and they're trying to continue that retro look. And the little comic book, not comic book, but little stories, comics within the wrapper.
that
And
came
I
with it,
wrote
right?
it down. Oh, Steve, I was like really thinking this stuff last night. It was so crazy. I wrote it down. It says Bazooka gum still exists, and brings back nostalgic look and taste. And also, the comic is called Joe and the Gang. That is the name of the
Joe and the
comic. Little
gang. Okay.
stories inside of it. Imagine.
Oh my word! You know how long it's been since I've actually eaten a piece of bazooka gum. I do remember the little comic on the inside. I'm actually surprised they still do that today. But oh my gosh, I remember that when I was like a small little boy when I was like 3, 4.
Well, they kind of took that away, I think, for a while, but now it's coming back, and they call it. The new one is called Joe and the Gang in the content of it. Imagine all
Oh,
that detail just for gum. I'm just saying.
hmm, wow.
I
Well, that's
know. I was really researching this. I said, why am I thinking this? It just brought back so many memories, like chewing gum when you're. I'm not saying it's healthy, so please don't. Oh, gum is not healthy. We all
yeah.
know chewing gum is not healthy, but we're just like talking about like how it was back in the day. This is just the way it is, just the way it was. And Dentine, remember I asked you if that still existed or whatever?
Dentine is still
Trident,
around.
that was another gum,
Trident.
Trident.
Yep.
Is that
Dentine,
still around? I don't know.
Trident. Um, Big Red.
Big Red, that still exists?
That's still around. Double Mint. Um,
And tea berry gum. I mean, I'm really showing my age here. There was like a cute song that Herb Alpert and the Tijuana Brass
Tijuana
did
Brass.
in reference to tea berry gum. That really existed, and that was a very famous commercial ad back in the 1960s as well.
Tea Berry. TEA Berry.
Yep.
Right? Wait a minute. I've seen that.
Yes, you have. Was
I've seen
famous,
Tea
even though you
Berry.
were not born yet.
Why do I have a recollection of that though?
Because
Because
they
I
show
know
them on some retro videos.
could that be it? Okay, because I know I'm like, wait a minute, Tea Berry. Yeah, I've heard of that.
Also was a recording, a record. People were able to purchase this Herb Alpert and Tijuana
Tijuana Brass.
Brass.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could actually check that out. If anybody's
I
interested.
like Herb Alpert's music. I've actually
By the way, this is a non-sponsored ad for anybody listening to all these names.
no, it's not. But music. Like I said, I'm trying to see if I can do a music thing on here on my channel. I just need to slip away from the gum for a second. I'm trying to do at least one music video of some type content about once a month,
Nice.
to shy away from the norm because
Right.
my channel is random. Look at what we're talking about now. We're talking about retro
Exactly.
gum.
I'm
You
glad
know,
that we're doing that. Yeah, it's really cool.
so so music is always going to be my you know
But you know what, Steve? There was also a thing called bubblegum rock back in the 1960s and maybe early 70s, like songs like Honey, Honey, Sugar, Sugar by the Archies.
or chewy, chewy, chewy baby. Always got a mouthful, such sweet things to say. That one and yummy, yummy, yummy. I got love in my tummy. Ohio
Yes,
Express.
yes, love in my tummy. Yeah.
Now think about something. Those two songs come out about 1968.
Yes, that's
Think about
absolutely
something. I
right.
wasn't born until 74, and some people say, "Well, Steve, that's before your time." Yeah, what's your point? I listen to all kinds of music, you
I
know.
mean, listen, I love some songs from the early to middle 50s. I wasn't born yet either. So we could like things that are beyond our age bracket. Doesn't matter.
I love early 50s. I mean, it is pre-rock and roll, but
Absolutely.
you did have some nice stuff, some nice songs out in the early, like Rosemary Clooney, Joan Weber, Teresa Brewer. I know I'm naming women, but I do remember K Star's another one, Georgia Gibbs. But you had a lot of you know, different artists here and there. Um, but it's funny that you mentioned the bubblegum rock. It kind
It's
of
true.
ties in with
Steve, I have to ask you, probably the answer is no. Were you allowed to chew gum in school when you were a kid?
my teacher didn't like it.
Yeah, no, no.
So what I would do, I actually was able to get the best of both worlds. Well, kind of. So what I would do is if I wanted a piece of gum, I would chew it like maybe on the bus if I rode the bus or if my parents took me. If my parents took me, which that was in the later years, um, yeah, I could have all the gum I want. And I would get out of my car or my parents' car. I'd you know, go inside the school and I'd still be chewing the gum. Now, when I just about got to my classroom, just about the time I got to my door, I got rid of it.
Yeah, that was smart.
So I was able to have the gum in school and still make my teacher happy at the same time. So it kind of worked out both ways. That's a little bit of a funny.
Yeah, when I was growing up, went to a very, very strict parochial school. I ended up teaching in that same school. But
Well,
in my high
no,
school years, I made up for lost time and I chewed gum in that parochial school as well. I mean, high school, Catholic high school. We all the teenagers there smoked anyway. I not smoked. I never smoked. I meant
right,
chewed
right, right,
gum.
right,
Chewed
right,
gum. I never smoked in my life.
right, right, right.
Chewed gum. And the funny part was when I went back to being the teacher at the same school I went to as a child, which is really, really funny. I was like looking around for the kids who were chewing gum. That I said I have to wink on it because I chewed so much gum in high school. I just had to pretend I didn't see it.
Yeah. Well, I did go to private school, in my latter
Yeah,
junior high and so forth. Yeah, very, very. You can't do this. You can't do that. You can't do this. You can't. So I get it. But no, it's funny though. I am kind of glad that we are doing this video about gum. I would have never thought in 100 years.
gum.
You know, that I mean, I really can't see any different between say doing a video on this and say maybe doing a video on a candy bar. I mean, there's not really.
I'm convinced, Steve, it isn't even about the product. And I was going to bring that up earlier. It's about the memory that came with it. Like my parents always laughing about the little packages of the gum in the machine and how it cost them only 2 cents for a pack. And boy, the price sure went up and I had to pay a whole nickel or a dime when I was a kid. It's just like the memories associated with it. Or I just love looking at gumball bank machines. It's pretty colors. They're so cute to look at. But the one gum that I really like to look at but don't ever try, that's from that same bank. They call them jawbreaker gum. Like if
Oh
you try
yeah,
to bite into it,
oh yeah.
you got to have really good dental insurance because some of them were so hard.
I
Oh
learned my
my
lesson.
word. Yeah.
I learned my lesson about a jawbreaker. If you want to have one, they were good. If you want to have one, take it out of the plastic wrapping, put it in your mouth, and do just that. Let it absorb in your mouth naturally. Taste it.
Right.
Don't chew it. Don't chew it.
No.
You will be sorry.
No. No. Hey, Steve, ever hear of a pixie straw back in the day? It was filled up with this powdery substance. some people actually make that powdery substance that was in that pixie straw. And by the way, that reminded me of fruit stripe gum. Can't get
I
it
remember that.
anymore.
I think I
I
remember
used to love
that.
fruit stripe gum. It
Yeah.
tasted like that. It kind of tastes like that pixie mix or whatever you call
Yeah,
it.
I remember the pixie straw where it come and you just yeah.
Yeah. It's basically like two items. I think like literally like maybe it's Kool-Aid or Jello or something like that mixed with some other substance, just like two ingredients. I can't believe we used to like eat that stuff. I remember the gum that looked like cigarette sticks, but actually was tasting like chalk.
That I remember that yeah, because remember I'm primarily though, even though I am a little bit 70s, but my 70s would be like the latter 70s. But um I'm primarily an 80s kid, so anything that was in the
Right.
80s,
No, there's a gap. Obviously, there's a big gap.
yeah,
Yes.
right. So but I remember the cigarette sticks that looked like a piece of chalk you could write with, right. I
Yes.
remember that one. Um let's see what else am I let's see, Laffy Taffy.
Oh, Laffy Taffy. I used to love Razzle Dazzles. Razzles.
I
Razzle.
remember that. Wait, Razzle Dazzle. Yeah, yeah,
That's my
yeah.
favorite, Razzles. Yeah.
Yep, Razzle
It started
Dazzle.
off like a candy disc. It was raspberry flavored, and it was just like candy. Then just like kind of like bite into it, and then it became gum. Back to gum. There you go.
Now you mentioned the pixie stick, and I've got one kind of pixie stickish, but it's not a
Excuse
stick.
me.
There used to be this thing that I had that I know you had it in the 80s. It was called Fun Dip.
What's it called?
Fun Dip.
I heard the name. Yes.
What
Yes.
it is it came in two different. It was a little bit rectangular, and you had one flavor would be like strawberry, and over here you would have blueberry or lemon. It would be different, and you had this little stick, and you would put it, and you would open it up, and you would, it was, and it tasted kind of like the Pix. That's definitely an '80s thing. So if anybody that's
Yeah.
watching um, is an '80s kid, you'll definitely pick up on what I'm talking about. Oh, and if you really want to go back in time when it comes to candy, here's actually there's two. One is called Now and Later.
I remember the name, but what was it exactly?
Now and Later was like a little squared candy. It came in a little
Yeah.
thing about you got about 8 pieces. You had banana, you had strawberry, you had vanilla. They come in different fruit flavors. You had that,
Right.
and you also had another one. This is pretty common. Starburst.
Oh yeah. That was around a long time. Starburst was good.
Yeah, they're still here. We still have it.
Yeah, no,
We still
definitely.
have it.
That definitely was good. Oh my gosh. Wow.
No, now I'm starting to think of not just gum. I'm starting to think of
Do
candy
you
too.
remember Pop Rocks?
Oh, I used to love that as a kid.
1977, I think, was the first time, or what they call space rock or pop rock, whatever it was called. You'd
Yeah.
pour it into your mouth, and all of a sudden, you
Yeah. That's what I liked about it. Yeah, I used to love that. I used to, and yeah.
it would hit your teeth, and people look at you like, "What are you doing? What are you doing?"
But yeah, no, Pop Rocks I remember very, very well. I used to love that. That was one of my
Oh,
favorites.
so funny. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, Pop Rocks.
This is why we are the way we are today. See what I'm saying? How many of you out there ever tried these products? Let Steve know.
Yeah, I mean,
And
then
by
if
the way,
you,
while we're at it, don't forget to smash down his like button.
yeah. So actually, if you do this right here, it pretty much simplifies things. So that's that. Yeah, perhaps you heard that little noise. So we're talking about gum, right? So
It's when people would chew out their gum, I guess.
right. But you know what? This has been a good subject. I mean, this subject could go on and on and on because I'm
It
sure there's
could.
some we
It
haven't
really
mentioned.
could.
But um, Who knows? There may be a part two to this later.
Part two to retro, whatever it is. There you go.
Not sure how I would title it. Retro, who knows what from whatever decade. Um, but no, Jan, thank you for stopping by as
Thank you
always.
for having me. I
You're
appreciate it.
welcome. And thank all of you for being here. Hopefully, we brought back some memories for you. I know it brought back some of the ones you mentioned, even some of the ones I mentioned, I completely forgot about.
I could go on and on and on. It like just came into my mind.
That's what I'm saying. This subject could go another half hour if you let
And
it.
who knows, maybe in the future we'll revisit this topic again.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I hope all of you have a great, whatever time of day it is, and both Jan and I, we'll see you guys back here next time. Bye for now.